Were India as good as this? Are Sri Lanka as bad as they seem today? You can ask these questions when the margin of victory is the biggest ever in the history of one-day internationals, 317 runs. Well, the answer is Sri Lanka had a day to forget. You get it one of some of these days when you just turn up, nothing seems to work for you. There's no intent, as Dasun Chanaka said afterwards. But you add all that in and you still don't get this scorecard unless one side is that much better than the other. 390 by itself is daunting. And then to go out and dismiss Sri Lanka like that was India flexing its muscles. I'd said on Cricbuzz before the start of this series that I wanted to see India win 3-0. Because it's that one game that India drops that seems to put them back in knockout competitions. And wow, 3-0. I mean, they just told the other side, you know what, we're playing at a different level. And it started with the opening combination. I'm very happy with the way Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill are coming together. Because one day Rohit is aggressive, one day Shubman is aggressive. But the two of them are trusting the depth in the batting to allow them to play as aggressively as they do. And Shubman Gill is just looking so good. 131 runs of 110 balls in combination with Virat Kohli, and there was a period in that partnership when Gill was actually dominating the proceedings. I love watching Shubman Gill. There is just a certain class about him. His offside shots early on are brilliant. He hits through the onside easily. He's a wonderful player of spin bowling, and I'm so happy that India kept their faith in him rather than, I mean, they don't always look at what people are saying. But you know, picking teams is not like ordering another ice cream. I like a new flavor today, so I'll order someone. I'll pick somebody else. I like another flavor, so I'll go there. Shubman Gill, since the start of 2022, has made 845 runs in 15 innings. You reward consistency like that at a very good strike rate too. And I think if Shubman Gill continues like this, I think he's earned his spot. I know it's too early to say that, but he's on his way to earning his spot in India's World Cup side. That strike rate, 120. He just looked wonderful, and he set the pace early on in that one over from Lahiru Kumar. What do you look back, though, at the end of this season? For me, it was 2 innings by Virat Kohli. There was such a long drought. You wondered whether a cricketing equivalent of El Nino had come in, what the problem was. I don't think there's been more television time, digital time spent on analyzing Virat Kohli. And then suddenly everything comes right. I loved his innings in Guwahati. There was some suggestion that maybe he was left out, he got dropped twice. That was when he was playing shots. But here, there are 2 things to notice about this innings by Virat Kohli. The old Virat Kohli, who used to dominate proceedings, used to come in and straight away establish himself at the crease. We saw that both in Guwahati and here, a flurry of boundaries early on, as if to say, you know what, one of the greats of the game is here, be careful. And then to start building that inning. It drops back to about run a ball thereafter. But once he got past his 100, and he got 100 in quick time as well, remember, the 8 sixes that he hit. Virat Kohli is hitting sixes with ease at the moment. And these were not little sixes, apart from one. They were pretty big sixes as well. So Kohli is showing now in this reincarnated avatar that he's got the ability to really crank it up and go big with the sixes, which is something he wasn't doing before. How will he go against tougher competition? That is something to watch out for in the series against New Zealand, because he was just toying with the bowling here. But 300s in 4 innings, Kohli is climbing up the charts once again in white ball cricket, because he is a white ball legend. It was just fantastic to see. He's now number 5 on the pecking order, and above him are some great names. Sanath Jayasuriya, Ricky Ponting, Kumar Sangakkara, Sachin Tendulkar. You go a little down that list, you'll find Mahela Jayawardena there. And when you see those lists, if you're a Sri Lankan cricket lover, you'll say, what on earth is happening at the moment? Sri Lanka just not good enough, because the generation that went away has not yet been replaced. Sky played today. I was very happy that Sky played today. Some of you might say, why didn't Ishan Kishan play? And I think the reason Ishan didn't play is he's going to get 3 games against New Zealand, with KL Rahul taking a break. So I didn't mind this. I didn't mind the side today. Hardik needed the break, and Umran Malik, he's had a good run so far. Which brings me to the bowling. And what a performance we saw today from Mohammad Siraj. We are a batting country. India tends to focus and all conversation tends to be on the batting. But in the power play, India are having one of their best bowling runs. And that's been spearheaded by Mohammad Siraj. He had 19 wickets from 17 games before this. He picked up 2-3 wickets again today. And to finish 10 overs, 4 for 32 is simply sensational. He's providing you that edge that India thought they would not get in the absence of Jasprit Bumrah. So Siraj, fantastic, and he's done it now over a period of time. So he's controlling the power play overs. And then you've got Umran Malik and Kuldeep Yadav who are giving you wickets in the middle overs. And from that point of view, the bowling is looking very good indeed. I was very happy to see the way Kuldeep Yadav is bowling today. And that wicket of Dasun Shanak, I know some people will be reminded, I was too, of the wicket of Babar Azam a couple of years ago. But just look at the drift that he's getting. And it tells me that he's slowly coming to terms with the extra speed that he is bowling at. His body is getting comfortable with that. But the drift away from the right-hander and then turning back, wow, if you love wrist spin bowling, then you want to see that ball again and again. So the form of Kuldeep Yadav is a big plus. What would India not give to have Kuldeep and Chahal playing together? But I think in this current setup where none of the bowlers bat, you need a spinner to bat at 7 because the fast bowlers are not batting at 7. And I think Akshar Patel has done enough to seal that spot for himself. The only way India can do that, if you're playing on a slowish track, you pick 2 quicks and Hardik Pandya as your third and then play 3 spinners like India did today. But that's sustainable, especially on days when there will be dew. Akshar Patel quietly has been doing his stuff, and even though Ravindra Jadeja is now coming back, I think in white ball cricket, Akshar Patel has done enough to say, you know what, when there was no Jadeja, you picked me, but I've done everything he could have done and more. And it'll be very difficult to dislodge Akshar Patel from that slot now. So India's bowling is looking pretty good. India's batting is looking very powerful. We didn't even talk about Rohit Sharma, whose starts are becoming better and better. He may not be scoring the hundreds, but his strike rate is up there. And I think India are now playing a nice, aggressive brand of one-day cricket as well. But, and there will be a but, this was against a team that didn't challenge enough. This Sri Lankan team, I'm afraid, is looking a little ordinary as the series wore on. Apart from Nuvanedu Fernando, the batting just seemed to fall off. It's all right to play a couple of pretty shots, but those pretty shots then need to translate into bigger scores. Avishka can bat, Kushal Mendis can bat, Asalanka can bat. They're all very good players. Dhananjaya De Silva can bat, but Sri Lanka just not getting the consistent large performances from them. And this card is something they just want to forget. I remember India had a game like that against Sri Lanka in Sharjah. You just want to forget that this ever happened. But Sri Lanka now need to pick themselves up because they haven't yet qualified directly for the 2023 World Cup, the World Cup later this year. So what lies ahead for India? Sterner opposition. Even though New Zealand will be without a couple of their key players, but still there will be a lot more challenges with players like Conway and Latham, and I'm mighty impressed with Glenn Phillips. I saw a little bit of Glenn Phillips playing against Pakistan, and I thought he was as inventive as anybody else. He looked very, very good. Then had Daryl Mitchell into the side, some quality spinners in Santner and Sodhi, and Lockie Ferguson and a couple of other bowlers who are having to prove themselves. But largely, New Zealand will provide sterner opposition. And if India can steamroll New Zealand, if India can beat New Zealand 3-0, then wow, the world is starting to look at you.